Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring an absolute game changer in personal development. We're talking about a complete paradigm shift, moving your entire existence from just, passively reacting to whatever life throws at you to actually living a highly proactive, purpose-driven life. If you're tired of feeling like the world is just happening to you and you want to start creating the outcomes you actually desire, well, you're in exactly the right place. Okay, let's dive into this.
Here's our mental roadmap for today. We'll start with the proactive mindset shift, then managing yourself first, move on to becoming effective in society, and finally, investing in your future. It's an inside-out approach, moving step by step from internal self-mastery straight out to external societal success.
All right, part one, the proactive mindset shift.
So there's this really stark contrast between how people navigate the world. On one hand, you've got a reactive person. They pretty much let the environment pull their strings. They're just reacting to stimuli. If the weather's gloomy out, they're depressed. They'll often complain about things that are entirely outside of their control, like the socioeconomic status they were born into or some decision their boss made. But a proactive person, that's totally different. They focus entirely on their circle of influence. They know, hey, I can't change the weather, but I can completely control my work ethic, I can control how I treat my friends, and I can control my own reactions. The real secret to being effective is focusing all your energy on things you can actually change, even if it's literally just choosing to buckle your seatbelt.
Moving on to Section 2, managing yourself first.
Now let me ask you a pretty heavy, honest hypothetical. Fast forward to the end of your life, when there's a crowd of people standing around your coffin. What are they going to say about you? Are they going to talk about their best memories of you? Or, their worst? Actually, keeping that end in mind before you make major life decisions is absolutely crucial. It helps you manifest real tangible value in the world. Without that kind of long-term vision, it's so easy for folks to just yield to despair, rack up debt, and fall into negativity. But with it, you know exactly what kind of person you're striving to be every single day.
And a great way to do that is by crafting a personal mission statement. It essentially gives you a one-line sense of purpose to guide your daily actions. Take Will Smith, for example. His is simply, I want the world to be better because I was here. Oprah's is all about being a teacher and inspiring her students to be more than they ever thought they could be. Having a simple, catchy statement like this, it practically ensures you're always keeping that end goal front and center.
So let me throw another question your way. What is truly important to you? If we were to poll most people, they'd probably say things like, oh, my health definitely, or my relationships, or my financial credibility. I want you to just hold your answer in your head for a second, all right? Because now we actually have to look at how we're spending our time.
Now, what's really interesting about this matrix is that every single thing you do in a day can be broken down into these 4 categories based on how urgent it is and how important it is. Here's the absolute secret to effectiveness. It's all about that top right quadrant, doing things that are important but not yet urgent. You've got to tackle those tasks as soon as humanly possible. Think about it. If you handle important things before they turn into 5-alarm fires, you won't be stuck fretting and panicking over them at the absolute last minute. But here is where most of us hit a massive wall. Cognitive dissonance. This is the gap between what we say matters to us and what our daily actions actually show. For instance, we say we value our finances, right? But then we spend hours pinning dream houses on Pinterest instead of sitting down and building a simple monthly budget. Or we say we value our health, but we sit around playing video games all evening instead of hitting the gym. This disconnect is, frankly, deeply unhealthy. To truly be effective, your daily actions absolutely must align with what you claim is most important.
All right, that brings us to Section 3, becoming effective in society.
When we step out into the world, there are basically 6 core relationship mentalities we deal with. Now, most folks operate like the world is strictly win-lose. Like, for me to have the tallest skyscraper in town, I have to tear yours down. But I want to draw your attention to the 5th one, no deal. This is a completely unselfish, neutral stance. It essentially means, hey, if we can't find a way for both of us to win here, then let's just agree to walk away. Honestly, it takes so much pressure off, and it's highly preferable if a mutual win just isn't in the cards.
To really hammer this home, let's look at the extremes. First, you've got the ultimate toxicity, lose-lose. There's this crazy story of a guy going through a bitter divorce. He knew his ex-wife was entitled to half of his assets, so, out of pure spite and bruised ego, he sold his prized Ferrari for $10. $10! They both lost immense value simply because of hatred. Contrast that with win-win on the other side. You see this all the time in ecology through symbiosis, animals naturally benefiting from living side by side. Heck, it's happening right now. I make this explainer and benefit from you watching, and you benefit by gaining a totally life-changing perspective. Everybody wins.
But here's the catch. To build those win-win relationships, you actually have to know how to communicate. And it starts with the 5 levels of listening. Usually, we hover way down at levels 1 and 2. We're either ignoring people outright or just pretending to listen, nodding along and going, yeah, right. But true effectiveness? That requires level 5, empathic listening. That means you are listening with the active intent to completely understand their frame of thinking. You're not just hearing words, you're paying attention to their feelings and their body language.
You can basically summarize the core of effective communication with just one phrase: diagnose before you prescribe. Think about going to a doctor. They would never, ever just toss a bottle of pills at you without figuring out what's actually wrong first, right? The same goes for us. You must truly seek to understand the other person's perspective, which is formed by their own unique life events, long before you offer up any advice or demand that they conform to the way you see the world.
And this brilliantly illustrates our ultimate goal here, synergy. Now, obviously, on a math test, 1 + 1 is 2. But in human interaction, 1 + 1 = 3. Synergy means that the interaction of different parts produces an outcome that is way, way greater than the sum of the individuals. Just look at human physiology. Your heart, your brain, your stomach, they're incredibly complex all on their own. But when they work together, they produce the literal miracle of human life.
To fully wrap our heads around this, let's look at constructive versus reductive synergy. Constructive synergy is like trees and squirrels working together. The tree gives the squirrel food and a place to live, and the squirrel buries the tree's nuts all over the forest so new trees can grow. They both thrive. But you got to be careful, because negative or reductive synergy is a real thing too. Using a bit of dark humor from our source material here, imagine catching the bubonic plague, but you're also diagnosed with clinical depression. Both are terrible on their own, but combining them creates a health crisis far, far worse than just the two issues added together. In medicine, they call that comorbidity. So the ultimate goal is to consistently seek out constructive, positive synergy in your life and your business.
And that leads us beautifully into part 4, investing in your future.
So, you've learned to manage yourself, you're interacting better with society. Now, how do you sustain this momentum? By making the single best investment possible, investing in yourself. I absolutely love this analogy. Imagine a guy spending 6 agonizing hours trying to hack down this massive tree with a completely dull saw. He's sweating, he's exhausted, and he's getting nowhere. But what if he had just stopped, humbled himself for a second, and taken 1 hour to sharpen that blade? It would have only taken him 3 hours to cut the tree down. That's 4 hours total instead of 6. It just goes to show, taking the time to prepare actually saves you a massive amount of time and energy when it comes to execution.
So, how exactly do you sharpen your own saw? Well, you have to cultivate these 4 specific areas of your life. First, physically, through your diet and exercise. Trust me, it's a lot better to put in the work at the gym now than to pay for intense medical treatments later. Then, mentally, by constantly learning and teaching. Actually, scratch that. Teaching someone else is a scientifically proven way to successfully ingrain complex ideas into your own head. Then there's the emotional side, investing quality time in your relationships. And finally, spiritually, through practices like meditation, prayer, or even just creating art. A truly meaningful life doesn't just happen by accident, guys. You have to carve out the time to actively cultivate it. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought today. Take a good, hard look at your own life right now. What saw currently needs sharpening? Are you totally exhausted physically? Are your relationships feeling a bit strained? Or maybe you're just feeling intellectually stagnant. I challenge you today to align your actions with your priorities. Take that 1 hour to sharpen your saw, step completely out of reactivity, and start living as a highly effective person. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.